everybody, welcome back. I hope you're all doing really well, and if you're lucky, you'll get to see my little man, but right now he's kind of shoved me to the edge of the couch because he's tucked himself in under a bundle of blankies. So, hope you get nice and cozy. Personally, I've got my nice cup of lemon tea because it's kind of cold out, and yes, I got sorted into Ravenclaw when I did the test, but if y'all have been following me for a while, it's no surprise that I love Harry Potter, and y'all know I got started because I had a teacher call me Hermione, so Gryffindor is like a big thing for me. Gotta support the origins, and it's still nice and warm and steamy. I don't know if y'all can tell, but it's coming off there. So we're just gonna do my February TBR, read wrap up and in my Harry Potter journal, because I don't know about y'all, but I can't keep track of having read that many books. I have to give myself notes because it was 18 last month. So I had quite a good reading thing, and there's only one that really made me mad that I actually have not reviewed for y'all because I just, and one that was just kind of but most of these I've done reviews for already, and some I will review like this week. So basically, I'm just going to start off with the books from my physical TBR, which was actually a surprisingly good amount. I'm looking at the pile now, and it was 6 books. And the rest, well, like I said, in my, TBR book for March, I'm going through that Kindle trial and getting my non-money's worth out of that sucker. So the rest were all on Kindle Unlimited. So we will just jump right into that. And let's start off with So I Married a Demon Slayer. I was super excited. I mean, it's Demon Slayer, and I bought it because Angie Fox does a story in here. But these were all way too romance for my tastes. Like, I did the review of this one already, and it was magical. It's urban fantasy, but it was very heavy on the romance, left something to be desired at the end, and kind of smutty. So if you like romance and smut with a little hint of magic, this is for you. Personally, I will probably be unhauling this at like the end of the year when I get through my TBR, hopefully. And another one that I read, which was Janet Ivanovich's Look Alive 25 that I reviewed already, and I was disappointed in this one because I love Janet Ivanovich. I've got several of hers already. I think I have 2 others on my TBR pile by her from the same Stephanie Plum series. And the first one I do not recommend. It is very dark, there's murder, there's like assault that almost ends in murder. It's a dark book. The rest are very formulaically written and entertaining, but this was missing my favorite elements of that formula and just felt like there was no growth in it to the characters. But overall, what this particular novel is, Stephanie Plum is a bounty hunter for her sleazy cousin that is known to have romances with a duck, and runs the bail bonds office that his mafia father-in-law owns. So, do not want to tick him off. And one of their bondies jumped bail and put up his deli as collateral, and now all the managers there have been getting kidnapped and going missing, with the only evidence being there's a shoe left by the dumpster. And since the guy skipped bail, they now own this deli, and Stephanie has been made manager of it. And, so they're basically using her as bait to, hey, get kidnapped. We've got trackers, like, in your shoes and underwear and everything else, because you're a friggin' mess. So we'll find you. And she doesn't get kidnapped, but other people do, and it's just a fun little mess. There's just small things that, 25 books in, should have happened by now that kind of bugged me. But, yep. So this one was fun. And then, as I have, recently mentioned, let's see if I can get these in the right order. Yep. So, Lost Throne by Chris Kosneski is the 4th book in the Jones and Payne series. I haven't read the first 3, actually. There is The Plantation, The Sword of God, and something else. But basically, I found him because I love James Rollins, and I own just about everything he's ever written, either in physical or ebook, possibly both. And this guy is kind of a filler in between Sigma Force novels. I think this is like the 4th book by him that I've read, and I really have been enjoying him. It's very action-packed. There's not a lot of like science and save the world. It's more, there's some kind of a legend that the 2 main characters, Jonathan Payne and David Jones, that are like former military guys that ended up like out of the service for various reasons, and they can't go without the action of getting gunfights and shoot people, and they find their way to that. And there's also a lot of, Jones is basically a pervy 12-year-old that just discovered girls, even though he's like pushing 30. And sometimes Payne goes along with it, usually because there's a cute girl that they have to rescue and he wants to look mature and suave instead of pervy 12-year-old, rolls his eyes and doesn't always run with it. But this one was monks slaughtered by like Spartans in Greece, and we don't find out pretty much almost till the end what the Lost Throne actually is. But if you just want a lot of action, adventure, and 12-year-old like boy humor, this one is for you. And then the 5th one, though actually I read this before the Lost Throne, because I just found this at my favorite used bookstore. I was like, I don't have these yet, so I grabbed them, and this one's about Notre Dame, and it just like, ooh, that sounds cool. I want to read that one first. Because these don't have to be read in order. It's just pick one up, go for it. And it's all kind of the same thing of, we're going to get into fights. We're going to travel the world getting shot at or killing people. There's going to be a hot chick that, we're going to flirt with, and she's going to be annoyed with at least one of us. But they're going to get their, buddy to help them, like, look up the historical mystery that's going along with this. In this case, it's hidden prophecies from Nostradamus that supposedly, like, aren't, ways that they can be distorted. And of course it's true. You can take this any way you possibly need to make it seem fitting. No, that's supposed to be, like, there's a book of his, like, straight up, this is what it is. And the bad guy wants him. So, action-packed, Nostradamus obsessed bad guy. Lots of 12-year-old humor and gun battles all over the world. It's just action-packed adventure. Fun. Now, this one is one that I've actually seen on BookTube. This was a very popular book, so I was hesitant. If I'd had to pay for it, I probably wouldn't have, because I tend to, not be a big fan of the really hyped up books. They tend to end up being overhyped to me, but I had a coworker get the wrong set of books in her book order, and they told her to just keep them, so she gave it to me. And this is All of Us Villains by Amanda Foody and Christine Lynn Herman. And it's, from what I understand, like, I never read The Hunger Games. I felt like that was just going to make me angry, and dealing with humans already makes me angry. I'd trade most of them for my puppies. So I never read that series, but this is very much like young adult magic, and I really enjoyed this one, surprisingly. Even though it was definitely dark and like designed to make you mad at some points, it ended up on a hopeful note that actually kind of makes me want to go find the sequel. And this is another one that I've already done a full review of, so I won't say too much. But basically, like, we have 7 families in this small little town that are fighting over who gets to control the high magic. And how they decide that is they send every family sends a kid into battle, and the kid that's still living at the end of 3 months, their family gets to control it for, the next 20 years. So yeah, that's messed up. But they want the magic, but none of them, like all of them want to win, but none of them want to turn into murderers. So they try to find a way around that with a mixed bag of results. So, yeah, dark, sad, but also hopeful and amazing. Go check that one out. And then the book that I was super, super freaking excited for, Cradle of Ice by James Rollins. I have wanted this since I finished the Starless Crown last year. This is the second in his Moonfall trilogy. Like, I'm not big on high fantasy. I'm more the urban fantasy kind of girl. I tend to kind of get mixed up when it's like the high fantasy. I'm like, wait, were we talking about that character? I thought they were over what? But he does an awesome job of like the places, the names, what's going on. It's written in a way that I can easily keep track of it, even when my like ADD kicks in full scale. So it's awesome. It's high fantasy. We've got basically a 3-book time limit to save the world. And we have these awesome creatures, and the world has stopped turning, and we have to get it turning again before the moon crashes into us and kills everybody. And because the world is no longer turning, we've got a little sliver that's livable and nice, and then you've got the desert and the Cradle of Ice, which is mostly where our story takes place. Though we do spend a little time in the desert, and we get these new awesome creatures and an almost romance. And there's clearly something cute outside, because Franny is smacking the crud out of the door saying, let me out, but not her bathroom thing. So I think our little chipmunk Simon is visiting again. It's got her attention. So, yep. Listen, I get ADD. I'm very distracted by my doggies. But little man's still snoring away beside me. So if you love James Rollins, you love fantasy, go get this one. It's so good. And if you're not sure, go check out my full review of this, where again, I was like, it's hard to explain, but so good. It's James Rollins. Like, you can't go wrong with James Rollins. And that is all for my, like, actual physical TBR. And now I will have to bust out my little Harry Potter journal, because I cannot remember all the other books that I read. Because I did a little bit of fairy tales, some Greek mythology, and some just whatever. So I also, I read a trilogy by R.D. Brady, who I found last year as she did a Belial series. This time she did a young adult trilogy, The Gates of Artemis. And it's The Key of Apollo, The Curse of Hecate, and, I lost the third one somewhere in here, because I didn't read them in order. So, but yep, there's 3 of them. I will totally find it later, because that's just, I tried to fit them all in one page, and now I'm going, oh yeah, I have, as my mom used to call it, doctor's handwriting, so it's really bad on its best day. Oh, Return of the Gods, that was the third one. I'm not goofy at all, I swear. And these are basically all her slowly coming into her powers as a daughter of Artemis with her friends, and the gods are trying to escape and come back and start trouble, as well as her actual family, because she is an orphan, and she has been, another woman has been attempting to adopt her, and it's been thwarted by former foster parents, and she finds out there are some families still left, but they aren't necessarily, some are good, some aren't. It's got its whole book of, trouble with the orphanage, with the family, with magic, but we end up closer to some, falling out with others, making friends with some that started off what? Some are just acquaintances, so we get, a growth of dealing with being a teenager, finding out you have magic powers and there's this whole other world, because it's basically like an alternate universe where they're in America, like it's modern times, but Greek mythology isn't mythology, it's history. Like, these gods actually existed. You can trace your lineage back to some of these gods, and you can tell because some of the higher up ones are very snooty. Haha, I'm Zeus's kid. You all bow to me. And you want to punch them in the face. Even if they're kids, you still kind of want to punch them in the face. Or that might just be my redhead coming out. It's like, doggies, yes. Humans, get it together. You don't get as much leniency if you're not going to wag your whole butt every time I walk in the room. Oh, little man, you poking your head out. Did you get a little warm? Okay. He gets away with everything because he makes cute face, and his version of punishment is to give mommy kisses. And even when he's mad, he does the most cute little grumble when he tells you to hurry up. But he refuses to do it whenever I try to get a video of it for you. But those were all really funny, and they're on Kindle Unlimited. They're by R.D. Brady. And you, like, if you like Greek mythology and just quick, fast-paced young adult books, go check it out. If you want something more supernatural, check out her Belial series. I think it's at like 15 books now. I stopped at like 11 because the romance aspect of, will they, won't they, are they gonna fix it? It started bugging me. But this general story itself was really good. And so, yeah. And then, of course, it's me. I had to get into some fairy tales. So I ended up reading Rumpelstiltskin, which is by K.M. Shea, as part of her Timeless Fairy Tales series. And it was so much friggin' fun. I mean, it's Rumpelstiltskin, but he's not the bad guy that we all know. So I just love what she does with these stories. She takes ones that we know or that we might not know very well and just completely turns it around. It's still a fairy tale. You still get your romance and your happy ending, which this is about the only way that I like romances. I am not that kind of girly girl. If y'all have been following me for a while, you know I don't read romance novels, but I love me a good fairy tale. And making Rumpelstiltskin the good guy instead of the baby snatcher, though there is a nod to that I loved it. It was so much fun. That was just, it was so freaking good. Like, I don't even know what to say about that other than you need to go read this whole series. I actually read 2 of them last month. The other one I read was Puss in Boots, because, duh, we've all seen Shrek. I actually did y'all a Grimm's fairy tale reading of Puss in Boots last year in a little segment that I had going for a while. But let me know if y'all want to restart that one. And that one also, oh my goodness, that one had so much friggin' action and sass. I absolutely love that from start to finish. I almost wish there was a sequel of that one. I'm like, I don't know how she's gonna turn this, like, 12-page Grimm's fairy tale or, Shrek into a novel. But she did. So we have the awesome Puss in Boots, though he gets really mad when you call him that. He has a very snobby, hard to do long name, whole title and everything. And this little girl from a small village says, I am not getting married off to any of these locals, and I am not sticking around with my family that disrespects me so much that, well, I have to trade on my looks and marry a creep that I hate because I have nothing else. Since y'all won't give me a dowry, y'all won't give me any inheritance, just, you're cute, marry somebody. Bump y'all. And so she takes the magic cat and leaves and goes off on all these adventures and becomes this renowned hero that mouths off to the prince and smacks him on occasion. So it's sassy, it's magical, it's amazing. I love K.M. Shea. That is like half the reason I am still going on this unlimited trial, because fairy tales, K.M. Shea, awesome. I love her. I haven't done a full review of that one yet. I probably will this week, though. And I also, I was big into mythology this month. So there was another trilogy that I read, this time by Hannah Lynn. It was Athena's Child, A Spartan Sorrow, and Queens of Themyscira. And they were all well written. The last one made me mad, but it was more of because of like what happened was all almost like too relatable. I've seen that. But Athena's Child is basically, it's Medusa's story, and she's been villainized throughout, history, and we find out it's like she actually wasn't that bad, and what happened to her was definitely not her fault. She got, attacked, and instead of being protected and believed, she was punished by everybody that should have had her back, from the goddess Athena to like her own mother going, well, that's what you get. You shouldn't have been pretty, and then men wouldn't want you, and this wouldn't have happened. And she gets the shaft from the get-go. But she's actually, like, feels bad about her curse and what it does to people, and keeps trying to save people from her once she realizes what all Athena has done to her. And then, like, the second half is, like, of course, guy being sent to kill her by Athena, of all people, going, yeah, I had nothing to do with that. I didn't create Medusa, but she's horrible. You should go kill her. I could never, but you should, because Athena sucks. So, yay, Medusa! It doesn't exactly have the happy ending that's expected, but it gets some happy twists, and Theseus' story is just, like, his origin, friggin', it makes me laugh. It was so good. I had fun reviewing this one. And then she also wrote A Spartan Sorrow, which is Clytemnestra's story, which is proof that I need to stick to the four-legged ones, because if I was Clytemnestra, y'all wouldn't know about Electra. She would have, I wouldn't have even sold her off to, like, a crappy husband. I would have, offed her myself for what she was up to. But Clytemnestra is better than I am, and she wanted to save her children, and was punished by, her husband, the gods, and one of her crappy children for trying to protect them from her abusive, murderous husband. And it's just, a story of how humans, especially women, are playthings to the gods, and how, like, unjust society was, and how hard it is to be a mom, and, like, I'm trying to love these kids and take care of them, and they are, like, determined to hate me for it. But it kind of, like, made me mad, but it was so freaking good. And then Queens of Themyscira was about the Amazons, and how their queen hooking up with the, basically gaslighting, just manipulative, evil creep, and refusing to leave him even when she had plenty of options to do so, and knew he was an abusive, manipulative creep, stayed with him till, like, her whole legacy was gone. So, yeah, that one just, I already reviewed it and got angry. We're not going to do that again. And then one that I haven't told y'all about yet is Bloodsucker's blog, Life Sucks. It's by Ella Stone, and I enjoyed it. Will I be following up on it? No. But I'm glad I read it once. I mean, the title was amusing, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's about this young girl that was turned into a vampire, and so she's, started writing a blog about it, because apparently that's what you do when you're, like, barely in your 20s and, hiding out at your friend's house because you can't be around people for fear of you will eat them. So she starts blogging about it, and then there's murders, and people go, wait, hey, this might not just be a joke. She might actually be a vampire. I'm pretty sure she's the killer. No, wait, her boyfriend's the killer. They both suck. And so she's trying to prove that they're not, and talking about it on her blog, and we get lots of, family, relationships, we get revelations, betrayals. It is good, but it's a very, kind of flatline young adult. Like, it moves fast, it's interesting. There's nothing, really bad about it, and the premise was very original, very much fun, but it just didn't really thrill me enough that I want to go for a second helping of it, if that makes any sense to y'all. And apparently, whatever is outside has gone, and now I'm just getting smacked because she wants to play with her brother, who refuses to get uncuddled. Big girl. Yeah, I see that fussy face. But she's too big, she's gonna have to hop up on the other side, and she's not very good at it. You're not very good at hopping up, are you, big girl? Because you don't know how big you are. Yes. So now I'm surrounded by my fuzzy guardians, even though you can't tell. And then I got back into the fairy tales with The Prince and the Sea Witch by A.G. Marshall, and it's part of the Villains Ever After series, which is, it's 12 stories, each one written by a different author. But the basic premise is we take the fairy tales that we all know and love and make the bad guy not the bad guy and give them their happily ever after. And this one was The Little Mermaid, which, as y'all know, if you've been following me for a while, is one of my, all-time favorites. So how could I not start with that one, even though it's, book 8 in the series? But they can all be read as standalones. They're just their own little self-contained retelling of an awesome, story. And in this one, I love that, the Little Mermaid is the one that's pretty sketchy. And the Sea Witch is I want to not be evil. So she gets the prince. But even that, it's not completely, black and white. It's a very gray area of, exactly how good she is. She has her own little, moral dilemma. And, we get the traditional, this is definitely, Disney Little Mermaid, but a little bit darker. And I love how, the mermaids are the bad guys in this. It fits with, if you've watched Pirates of the Caribbean, mermaids are evil, they sing their song, and, they're not so much mermaids as, sirens. They're evil, they want to kill people. And, that's what they are in this one. So, yep. And, the Sea Witch is basically, she's a mermaid that decided she didn't want to be an evil siren mermaid. So she turned herself into the Sea Witch. And so good. Go read it. And the book that, I hope this is the worst book I read of this year, Villains Are Made by Alta Hensley. And it had, an awesome premise. The first 52 pages were so good. And then, it tried to be smut, and honestly, it would have been better if it was just smut. Instead, they hinted at it, and the main characters were just freaking stupid. Because what this is, this is the coolest freaking premise ever. I loved it. We've got this, pair of twins. One has been, busted for being freaking, hitman, and a very successful one. And then we've got his brother that's just, the nice, clean up, can't hurt anybody numbers game, even though they're from friggin' mafia family and they own their island and a shipping empire, and basically they're untouchable. They are, gods. All their names even are from Greek mythology. We've got Zeus, we've got Apollo, we've got Ares. We've got some lesser known ones. One of the, kids, the only ones that don't have, Greek mythology names are the ones that marry into the family. And so we've got, these twins that they're, the hitman's, he's got busted. It was his brother that did it and somehow got recorded offing a guy in their boardroom at Medusa, which is their company, which there shouldn't have been any cameras in there. How the heck did he get caught? And we find that out. But, so, Apollo did it, but they're identical twins. the DNA led to Ares, and where they found all his other crimes, which you're kind of a bad hitman if you leave DNA at all your other serial killer murders. Like, this is like your family legacy. How have y'all not figured out how to not leave genetic evidence? But he gets busted on that, so yeah, it's like, just accept his fate. Like, don't feel bad. Like, it wasn't that what you did that got me caught. It was, they found my DNA. They found what all else I have done. They didn't just need the recording where they thought it was me. Because I'm the one that does it. I dress that way. Not the suit and tie good boy. And it turns out, like, they're flying off their island back to where they're gonna have, like, the end of the trial, and he's probably gonna go to prison for the rest of his life. And the helicopter crashes, one of the twins dies, and one lives, but they had switched clothes before, and, you know, against Ares' will, he did it to make Apollo happy, and in his, you know, nice now suit jacket, has passport and ID saying that he's Apollo, the innocent twin. Yeah, and not Ares. So, yeah, Apollo lived, and Ares died. So they have a funeral for Ares. Yeah, and can't arrest a dead guy, so hey, trial over, everything's good. And the only one that knows the truth is the dad, who's, you're Apollo now. You got this free meal ticket, the get out of jail free. I'm not losing both my sons because of this crap, so you're Apollo from now on, which means go home to your stupid wife, who is just gold digging trash, and go be married and free and be happy. And then they have the funeral, and we find out that it was gold digging wife that recorded her husband because she wanted a divorce, knowing full well that divorces are not allowed in this family. Once you marry in, you know the secrets, and if you're married, you can't be made to testify, so you shut your friggin' mouth. And, like, she goes to Athena and goes, come on, get your brother to divorce me. And I love Athena. She's like, go spread your legs like a good little, gold digger and be happy that you're no longer, like, less than trailer trash. Shoot. You know what you married into. And at the funeral, she gets called out for, well, I wanted a divorce, and he wouldn't divorce me, so I had to get him busted for murder. Like, there was literally, those were the only two options. And when this gets found out, this is where it starts ticking me off. It's like, oh, well, it's a mafia family. Generally, betrayal is, you gonna die. And this one, it's, I spanked her, and I'm the worst husband in the world because I spanked my wife, and oh, how could I do that? I love her because we had sex last night. And, of course, being a stupid little kid, if we enjoyed it, that means we're truly in love, even though I feel bad because it's actually my brother's wife, and she thinks I'm him. And she's complaining that, like, haven't you punished me enough? Just because I tried to ruin your whole family and get you arrested for murder for the rest of life doesn't mean you should abuse me so much that you spanked me. And then that's what it continues. Like, they threaten to get smutty again, but it's just her getting spanked and him feeling bad because he's abusing her by leaving a handprint on her butt, because that's way more than she deserves for, like, betraying the whole family. That's not, abusing your wife by spanking her is not husbandly behavior. Never mind that it's not exactly good wife behavior to try to have your husband put in jail for life just because he refused to divorce you after, and you can't go back to your former life because, like, you would have been lucky to be considered poor, and now you live in, like, a mansion and have a second one somewhere else in a private helicopter and go to all these functions, and you can't have your reputation ruined by people finding out that you like to get frisky or used to be poor. Oh, no. So, yeah, we finally find out why she wanted the divorce, and it's because she asked him to do something heinous, and he said no. But it takes over 200 pages to get to that instead of just threatening to be frisky or threatening to spank her again, and he feels so bad because he's so in love. So, yeah, the first few pages were amazing, and I loved it. And that is, like, a cool premise that, hey, evil twins, like, that one of them dies, now he's got a second chance at life, and turns out he likes his, brother's wife, and they're happy together when they, the actual brother and wife were, neither one of them wanted to stay married anymore. And then it evolved into, can we please have a slow death for, both of these characters? Because they are worthless and stupid and they suck. So, yeah. There's a review of that book. Do what you will. If I had paid for it, I'd have been requesting my money back. As is, I wish I could get paid for the time I wasted on that book. And then I will leave you on a happy note of, I started off the Legion series by A.D. Starling, and it's an urban fantasy, and there's a reason I'm on the book 4 now, and I've only got 100 pages left out of that, and I love it. It's urban fantasy at its best. It mostly, the home base is Chicago, but they go to New York, and this 4th book, they're in Rome, and the Vatican is very sketchy for more than just all the historical reasons. But it's basically, something happened back in 2017 that people were possessed by either angels or demons, and they've been starting to, wake up in their, human possessed bodies and either be really good or try to, start the apocalypse. And it's slowly been building for the last 22 years, I think. It's supposed to be 2039, 2040 now. And my favorite part is the bunny, because our main character, Artemis Steele, well, there's several main characters now, because we start off with him, and then he gets a small crew, and it keeps